What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. My name is Ricky and I am joined, of course, by my fellow co-host, Clive. Good evening, how are we?
I'm alright, Ricky. It's good to hear your voice. It's been a trying week, to be honest with you. As well as working from home, the kids are schooling from home, and that is not a recipe for success in terms of mental headspace. So it's been chaotic.
It's not a recipe for success in any way,
no,
shape or form. It's hard. But we are not one of these people that demand our children go to school to be looked after by teachers, because it is not their duty. We support teachers. It's just, it's hard. But hey, we signed up for this, so we just need to kind of get on with it and make the best of a bad situation.
Yes. Shout out to Nicola Sturgeon.
Putting us under more restrictions.
Well, when you've got idiots like Celtic Football Club sending a fucking injured person over to Dubai for a mid-season break, coming back with COVID...
and then 13 players self-isolating.
Yep, you can kind of understand why she's a bit pissed off with folk and saying, you know what? You're fucking getting hammered.
Good. And also, our esteemed Prime Minister, maybe you should cut your bike rides, shorter than 7 miles, instead of you doing that and telling the rest of the population that they can't do this and that. Maybe you should listen to the law. Why was he not pulled over by the police and given a fine?
Don't know.
Not for going 7 miles outside his house. I don't even have an issue with that. I would pull him over just by how ridiculous he looks on a bike.
See, he's always been a cycler as far as I'm aware.
He has. Still a fucking idiot.
He loves a good ride, so he does.
Yeah, he does. I absolutely hate him.
Speaking of rides, from some Scottish colloquialism here, I've decided that I don't know if this will be weekly or if it will be regular at all, but I've decided to introduce a new segment to the show, and that will be Twitter Wanker of the Week.
Interesting. Hopefully this segment may only last a few weeks depending on what happens at the Royal Rumble, so let's hope it lasts longer. And
I'm thinking this might get us a bit of notoriety, especially if we were to tag the weekly winners. To say, congratulations, you are Ricky and Clive's Twitter Wanker of the Week. But this is going out to Chris Dees at PWCDs. You may have seen this individual recently. He has gained some traction in recent months. He has, let me see. I'm giving him, they can moan about being Wanker of the Week, but they're getting plugs here. He's a co-host and social media manager at It's Our House Pod. He's a husband and a father. He is optimistically pessimistic. He has 2,688 followers, and his bias is so strong that I can smell it from here, and he is many hundred miles away. This guy's tweets, I've been unfortunately keeping an eye on this guy's tweets for a long time, thinking that I can tell just by looking at him that he's quite fresh-faced. I would ID him for fags in the shops, and he's an opinionated young chap. But I also,
for our non-British listeners, fags are known as cigarettes over here.
Oh yes, of course. I keep forgetting about that. But not even recently, this guy is so anti-WWE. No, that's wrong. He's so anti-AEW that for a supposed reporter, his bias is so strong it's untrue. And he's going on, he's like talking about, I'd like to report a murder, talking about Dijak tweeting out about Sammy Guevara.
Yep.
Not realising that sort of Dijak calling out and bringing to attention again Sammy Guevara's rape joke that he made a few years ago, when the house is not exactly in order under WWE's roof. So I wouldn't draw attention to that at all. And he's thinking that's a murder. So basically, he's one of these guys who's gained notoriety over the last wee while, shouting and bawling about how AEW are shite. Don't make any mistakes there. I thoroughly enjoy doing that myself sometimes. But it's just constant. It seems to be. I don't like his tweets, but it seems to be in my timeline all the time. Kenny Omega says AEW's console game will not feature GM mode, promising several unusual modes, and he retweeted saying unusual modes must include key demo mode, where you go around pretending that it truly matters which category of fans is watching your show, ignoring the overall amount is lower than your rivals. Sorry, I just find that funny.
I hate the demo talk.
But it just check him out. He's saying,
don't.
if
you're a wanker of the week, then I don't think we should be telling people to check him out.
He's off again. He's retweeting the It's Our House podcasts. He had an epic rant, a classic rant on his podcast, and he retweeted saying, "When am I ever wrong though? I'll stop banging this drum when people stop misusing the word burial." He gets a lots of comments, and then he just replies with, "When am I wrong though?" Anyway, right. Wanker of the week, Christie's. Congratulations. Right, Ricky, you've got some interesting stuff for us tonight. I had quite an enjoyable wee half hour or so this afternoon while the kids played Mario on the Wii. Putting this all together. You want to tell us what's going
on? Tonight, I know it's probably like a week or so late. But anyway, I've got kind of two wee segments we're going to do. The first one, we're going to do 3 hits and misses, or 3 pros and cons from 2020. That'll be 3 each. And the second one is we're going to create our own AEW versus WWE pay-per-view. 5 matches. I actually went for 6 because I couldn't take one off. And I actually put this last one in because I realised, that could be interesting. And then, if people want to comment and say which pay-per-view they like better, then by all means. And then we'll finish it up with our usual weekly quiz.
We shall. You'll enjoy this quiz this week?
Let's hope so. Right, so I'm thinking we'll just take... You can start us off with one pro, and then I'll give you my pro, and then we'll go back and forth.
Okay, which company do you want first?
Oh, did you do 3 of each for each company?
I did, yes.
I just wrote down as many pros and cons I did, so you can go with either one that you want.
Right, well, I'll just go down the list. I'll go for the first pro that I've got for WWE, and that is, it's no surprise here, I've been banging the drum for this fella for a long time now. Drew McIntyre had a sensational 2020, starting all the way back at Royal Rumble, booked strongly in the lead into WrestleMania, booked strongly in the aftermath of WrestleMania, looked unbeatable, made random matches against the likes of Dolph Ziggler work very well. Up until recently, I hope he gets better soon. He was a constant on TV during the pandemic, so he was obviously staying safe while being a workhorse and wrestling almost every week, promos every week. A true champion's champion, in my opinion. Not exactly a classic feud with Roman with Randy Orton, but definitely a memorable one, I would say, of which he was the ultimate victor. I just think he had banger pay-per-view match every single pay-per-view, and I think he did himself and Scotland very proud and being Britain's first WWE champion.
Yeah, obviously had the big moment in Royal Rumble, obviously winning it, but the other big moment was him eliminating Brock. The Brock match at WrestleMania, it is what it is with Brock matches. And then, like you say, his feuds or really good matches with good match with Seth, good one with Dolph. Randy Orton won at SummerSlam, which I think was the first one out of them. That was my favourite out of them. Had a great match against Roman. The TLC match with AJ as well. And I know the Keith Lee one just took place a couple of weeks ago, but that was also another pretty decent match. So yeah, overall, like, started off well and then just got better and better and better and better as the year went on. Started to look a lot more comfortable as well, like, in that role. Promo work's been excellent for a long time as well. So yeah, like, there's an argument to be made that he was Wrestler of the Year 2020 period. So yeah, I don't really have no issues with that at all. Let's say he was the first, the second thing I wrote down anyway. My first pick, I'm going to go Sasha Banks. I think when it comes to the women's division in WWE, like, I think her and Bayley were kind of right next to each other all year long. I really enjoyed, even though, like, it felt there was a lot of matches that felt like it went on for a while. Like, a lot of the stuff she done with Asuka during the summer, I thought was really, really good. She also had that awesome match with Io Shirai as well. That's right. At Great American Bash. Mm-hmm. The stuff with Bayley was really, really good. She pulled out like a great match on SmackDown with Carmella. What was that, about 6-7 weeks ago maybe?
They had a really good TLC match. Well, a match at TLC as well. I really enjoyed that one.
So I think she was like the female wrestler of the year. Her and Bayley, I felt, were like way out in front there. But I felt Sasha was just. I think we got to see, perhaps for the first time on the main roster, really, like, a sustained push and run of how great Sasha is. It just kind of took you back to her NXT days. Just like, we were so enamoured with her, and like finally on the main roster, they're like, right, here we go. We're going to go and really push Sasha as the leading figure in the women's division. I don't get me wrong, like, in the past we've said some things about her, like, when it comes to botches and stuff like that, which were true, but overall I thought she was really didn't put a foot wrong whatsoever. It was excellent stuff.
I think with with Sasha, it's definitely, she's a confidence performer, because when she's not confident in herself, then she doesn't do well. She's quite botch heavy, whereas this year we've seen a completely different Sasha Banks. She's been confident, and I can't remember her putting her foot wrong. Her wrestling's been fantastic this year. I think as well, this is the first time on the main roster that we've seen the Sasha Banks from NXT, because, well, she had a really good feud with Charlotte. She was always the sort of underdog, fighting from underneath throughout all of that, whereas this time she actually does come across as the boss that she honed and crafted so well in NXT. So I think it stands out more than the Charlotte feud, just because it's been so storied and so long a run. Whether it's intentional or not, I'll believe it's intentional, regardless of what people say. But Sasha and Bayley were actually joint my second pick for the hits of 2020 for WWE. Just the whole story, which has been intentional from sort of January onwards, probably. The will she, won't she, the betrayal by Bayley, the sort of coming out party for Sasha Banks at Hell in a Cell, in a fantastic Hell in a Cell match. That's 2 to her name now. Not bad, since there's only been, 5 women's matches, if that?
Maybe half a dozen at the absolute most.
I don't even think it's
that many, I don't think it was as much as that anyway.
I think there's only been 4 or something, I can't remember. But it's just been top notch, the pair of them this year. And Bayley's, she had her time at the top. She's had some weird pins. She's been a victim of this towards the tail end of the year. But it wasn't as if she was not burying folk left, right and centre for a while. Like, just destroying people. Burying's the wrong word, as Chris Dees will tell you. but just very, very dominant throughout a large portion of the year. So she's had her turn at the top. It's time for her to put some other people over now and again. But they were my second pick, both of them.
I don't have any complaints with that, or I'm not going to get any arguments because, like I say, I felt the same way about both. I probably feel slightly stronger for Sasha just in terms of her overall year, but Bayley was awesome. That entire heel run that she's put together outside the first few months has been great. And then, like you say, it was always going to be who turns on who, and I always felt it would still be Sasha because I thought they'd eventually turn Bayley back to babyface, but they went the other way, which is cool. It had a slightly different dynamic than you expected and you saw in the past. So yeah, what I say is, thought those two carried not only just carried the women's division. Like the four people that jump out, individuals that jump out from WWE last year was Roman, Drew, and those two. And the two women are right next to them, in my opinion. Like they were awesome. Like so again, not just carrying a division, but carrying a brand or a company between each other. Right, so my second pick. Right, so can see for your third pick. I assume you're going to go Roman.
You read my mind, fellow.
Right, okay, that's fine because I didn't want to go Roman because I didn't want to put him down because I wanted to get different people as well. But that's perfectly. Let me see. I'm torn because I've got a couple here. I really want to. I think Asuka deserves
go for it.
Some praise and love, but she's not my pick. I think Seth also deserves praise as well. I think he had a very good year.
Seth always deserves praise. Always.
It's true, but I'm going to go Randy Orton.
Oh, a curveball.
I think. Like I say, so my three automatic would be Roman, Drew, and Sasha, but I'm not picking those three because I pick Sasha, but I'll stay away from the other two because I wanted try and get 4 or 5 at least different people to talk about. So the reason I'm going for Randy is he played his part in the Rumble and him and Edge rated RKO kind of reunited slightly in the Rumble, and then surprisingly, it was Edge that eliminated Randy. Because you always thought it'd be the other way around, and I was like, oh, okay. Led to the match at WrestleMania, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed that match. Obviously it would have been heavily edited and stuff like that, but I still enjoyed it. It maybe went a little too long. I'm on board with that. It did go probably 8-9 minutes too long, but overall I still enjoyed that match. His work, especially in that Drew feud, I thought was excellent. I felt his promo is on a different level right now from a lot of people. I feel like his in-ring work, Randy's in-ring work is never ever an issue. He's in that conversation of one of the best in-ring wrestlers of all time. His technique, ring IQ, how to put a match together, at pace, etc. It's flawless. He legit is one of the best guys you watch in a wrestling ring when he turns it on. The stuff with Bray or the Fiend, especially what took place after this Monday here. There's a story behind it, and that was all good, and they touched into the story and all that. And I suppose from a kayfabe point of view, him lighting Bray on fire, it's well, there he is. Here he goes, listen, he's got voices in his head kind of again. But I felt Randy overall this year, especially from a heel and a promo point of view, I thought he was knocking it out of the park on a weekly basis. There was really a stretch of 5-6 months there where I thought he was tremendous. So yeah, I felt like he played a big part on Raw this year. One of the few things on Raw that I would kind of be well, I'll watch, see what Randy's doing, or I'll listen to a Randy promo.
He's been a constant for the year. I've not got any time for the Fiend stuff, just because the Fiend doesn't do anything for me anymore, so it's disappointing that his years ended up the way it has, personally. But as you say, the stuff with Edge, the stuff with Drew, they've been excellent. The Legend Killer stuff's back as well, taking out the likes of Ric Flair, Big Show, Christian.
Always here for people taking Ric Flair out.
Oh aye, former Disorderly Q people were all here for some Ric Flair bashing.
Next, he needs to punt Hulk Hogan in the head.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Like literally, like not like kayfabe, actually like properly do it. Get him to fuck off all our TVs forever.
What about literally setting him on fire?
That would be nice.
What's you going to do when Pyromania runs wild on you? Terrible.
You're going to die, brother. You're going to die. That's what you're going to
do. Yep. I've got no issues with Randy Orton. He's had probably his best year since 2009.
Perhaps. The year that he was involved in the stuff with Daniel Bryan, I thought was a good year for him as well. Yep. I know it kind of, I don't want to say it tailed off in the sense that like because they were going to go Batista and Randy Orton, but he was still involved in that triple threat match. That triple threat match was awesome as well, and then that led to Evolution and the Shield stuff as well.
That was a
he has had years where he's just literally just knocked out of the park alongside years that it's just like, oh, Randy's still there kind of thing.
He's been exceptional this year, definitely. So is that 2 you've had? 2, yes.
Yep.
Right. Well, you'd said it earlier, and the last one I'm going for is Roman Reigns, who returned to our screens on SummerSlam this year, and it has been quite the ride, to say the least. Came back, brand new set of gnashers, battered, erect everyone and left. Just the first words that he said were, I made you a monster when he was battering Braun. He said, you're nothing without me. It's like, oh, he means business when he's come back. And now it's like Paul Heyman was the orator for Brock Lesnar. Like Brock Lesnar just let Heyman speak for him. Roman Reigns allows and permits Paul Heyman to speak for him. Like there's a permission thing there. And when Roman speaks, it's worked so well because there's been this closed stage set thing with the Thunderdome, so he's been allowed to sort of speak more softly, which I think suits his cadence more and his tone, because he's not got a commanding voice. I think we've spoken about that before. It's worked so well in the matches that he had with Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, just this softly spoken guy, but you can hear the menace in his voice and the intent to destroy, repeating things over and over again, like you're just a number 2, I'm the head of the table. It was that first match, not so much. The Hell in a Cell match was good with Jey Uso, very good, but that first match was a shocking display, a complete 180 on the Roman Reigns we'd been used to. And I think despite his uber dominance at the top, he has elevated those that he's wrestled with. Sometimes you get people who are dominant and you forget about people after the fact, but Jey Uso has been a factor going forward. Kevin Owens is still floating about there. It's like people have been made to look stronger, and I think it's a wild one because he's had peaks and valleys over the years, but this is the most credible that Kevin Owens has been in a long, long time. Maybe the stuff with Seth Rollins in the spring there, but Kevin Owens has had a rough couple of years ever since he lost that title, the Universal title, and even being the underdog and the face and losing regularly, it's the best Kevin Owens has been in ages. So I think whatever Roman touches turns to gold right now, and 5 months on, it's no signs of slowing up or tiring or waning. It's been fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, he was gone for like 6 months. And to be honest, that was a blessing that he was gone. Because we missed him. B, because I don't know if we'd ever got this heel turn. And C, we would have had to watch him wrestle that old Goldberg. So, like, phenomenal. I remember I tweeted out, I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was the first promo after the Jey Uso match was announced or it was the first promo after his match with Jey Uso, but he delivered a promo that was up there for one of the promos of the year. The way, as you say, his cadence was awesome. The way he would change his tone subtly, and it was just like delivery. Everything was pinpoint. Everything he says in general now during these promos, it's like there's meaning behind it. There's a belief behind it. It's not just saying things for the sake of saying things and dragging out a promo. Every single word and sentence he says, there is a purpose and a menace behind it.
See, even what he's saying to Kevin Owens, it's like, I'm the one that puts food on the table, and when you look at it from his point of view, he is the draw of WWE, so because of him, WWE does better, which helps Kevin Owens get a paycheck. So there's truth to that. No, that's it. It's like, there's truth to, even though that sounds random, Roman Reigns, there is some truth to Kevin Owens living off Roman Reigns' success.
And even some of the stuff he says to Drew, and he's like, you're the person that they call when Roman say, nah, I don't feel like doing that. And it's like, well, if you want to look at it, maybe we're overthinking it, but who was the number one star in the company during that 6 months that Roman wasn't there? And
who is Drew McIntyre facing at the Rumble?
Exactly.
Roman Reigns is probably saying, fuck that.
Exactly. And I think Roman, I don't know if someone tweeted or it was Roman that tweeted, I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't someone else tweeted it. It was like, well, Roman was right. Like, Roman doesn't want that, so we'll just do it to Drew. Everything he done between like SummerSlam until now has been perfect. And I will say this about Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, low-key, had a solid year as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who else had a pretty solid year despite missing several months? Sami Zayn.
Oh, Sami Zayn's had a fantastic autumn time.
Like I said, so I don't want to be like, oh man, we missed out 6 months of Roman, because I don't think we would have got this Roman Reigns.
Probably.
So yeah, Roman's been sensational. In that short space of time, you can still put forward a good argument that he's been like the best wrestler in 2020. So yeah, my third and final pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an individual wrestler. It is a group.
I know who you're going to say.
Hurt Business.
Correct.
2 words, black excellence. I mean, look, maybe the first part of the year it was a bit like, you know, they were there. But see, I felt like this last 4 or 5 months, I was enamoured with that group. I thought they were excellent. But Lashley's always been a great wrestler, as a Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander. But MVP, I felt was awesome. And you know what the explanation mark for it was when Retribution, when they first kind of debuted and they were destroying everyone, and then Raw ended with the Hurt Business music coming on and the 4 of them marching down. I was like, that was a moment for me. Like, it doesn't matter what Retribution have become, because at that point they were like looking like a credible threat and going to be pushed and taken serious, etc. And it wasn't the whole locker room that came out to confront them, it was just those 4 guys. MVP, they come out, MVP stops and looks at them all, and then they all start marching down. I felt that was a moment. And then obviously holding the tag titles and Lashley having the US title as well.
Yep.
Like I said, I felt that the last 4 or 5 months that I've really, really enjoyed the work of that group. And I think it's well deserved. talking about them.
One of my favourite moments from them is when they didn't have a good night on Raw, so they ended up gate crashing Raw Underground and just dismantled folk.
Mm-hmm. Raw Underground. Lord. That's done now, isn't it?
Aye, dropped without any.
So, like I said, man, I felt it was a really solid year for that group, and MVP really was awesome. Like, talk about like coming back and making a mark, but not even making a mark as a wrestler, like the focal point and the face of that group and the voice of that group. I really, really enjoyed it, especially with the inclusion of Cedric. You weren't really sure, but I liked it. Even when there was a match on Raw, I think it was, where Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali were involved in it, and like there was like kind of like a callback to their 205 days and stuff like that. So I've enjoyed watching the Hurt Business this year.
Yep. And see as well, like a sort of small bonus for this is Cedric Alexander's in a hot stable. Mustafa Ali is in a hot stable. Buddy Murphy was front and centre in the Seth Rollins saga of the year, and Drew Gulak's doing pretty well for himself. He's more of a sort of comedy act, but he's had this really good romance going on with Daniel Bryan for the year. I think that just shows that, well, I mean, I personally thought 205 Live, they're going to be stuck there forever, purgatory. But I think these four gentlemen have shown that the cream does rise to the top eventually, because they're all here now. They're taking a long time, granted, but I think that's just impatience on fans' part, because they're all doing pretty well for themselves on the main roster now, so hats off to them for that.
Right. I'll go with the first, like, miss or con or whatever.
Okay.
Mustafa Ali. It's funny you say you were singing his praises there. Right.
Interesting.
Remember when you had the hacker gimmick?
Mm-hmm.
And I know they kind of made, like, Ali himself kind of made remarks about it when Retribution first came on. When he joined Retribution, my initial reaction was like, oh, I can't believe you're turning him heel. But I was like, but I get to see the guy every week. I'd rather watch him every week and not see him, because for a long, long time, one of the best wrestlers on your roster was on like Sunday night main event or whatever the hell that program's called. I don't think it's Sunday night, but just main event. My mentality then was like, at least I get to see the guy. Okay, so I'm happy. Let's see what it does. First few weeks, all good. And now all of a sudden, where the hell are Retribution? The stuff he says about the legends that night on Raw Talk, was it Raw Talk, whatever it's called, was true. Absolutely perfect. So for me, the reason why it's a miss is because you've got this guy with all the talent in the world, a guy who's just a genuine good person, has got like an awesome backstory, and you just don't do anything. You didn't do anything with him for so long, and then you finally did. And look where he is now. Like, what are Retribution? Like, nothing. Like, they're not a threat. They're just nothing. And the crazy thing is, like, 3 of the people involved in Retribution are awesome wrestlers. So, for me, Mustafa Ali is definitely a miss or a con or whatever you want to say, and it's not because of him. It's just a lack of creative direction and the lack of using him, really.
Yep.
And when they did finally use him, like, that bombed.
They are my first miss. Retribution.
Let's tie it in then.
Yep. Fun fact for you. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Retribution have not been on pay-per-view. They were on Raw and SmackDown for a long time. Now they're just on Raw. Their initial introduction to the WWE screens was through carnage and upheaval, riots. Why would they just target TV and not pay-per-views?
I feel like there was a pay-per-view match. Was there not?
Maybe Survivor Series.
I feel like they did have a pay-per-view match.
Okay, well, I'll change it.
I'm not sure, but
I'll change it then to the fact that they've hardly been on pay-per-view. They didn't Gatecrash SummerSlam, the big event of the year, all that stuff, right? As you say, there's no creative direction. It's just meandered. This is where the sort of 50-50 booking that people aren't a fan of comes into play, and there's not been any sort of rise in stock. There's not been any peak to the story. It's just been... There was a sort of flurry of white-hot activity for quite a while in the springtime. Then it just sort of petered out. They're saying the same things over and over again now. True, but it's just the same. There's just been no peak, and there is actually a theme to my misses that I've just realised over the course of it, a personal opinion theme. The story hasn't been told well, and if it hasn't finished, then there's been a lot of lulls in the chapters. It's not went anywhere. They are just a mid-card stable now. So I think over the course of the year there was promise, but at the end of it, it's kind of just like, right, okay, cool story, bro.
yeah, no, I agree. It's just drop it and just push them as singles guys if you want. Send Dijakovic back to NXT if you want, and just push Mustafa Ali for crying out loud. Right, so my second miss or whatever, I cannot believe I'm about to say this.
Am I
Bray Wyatt. I was never a fan, and I say it, of the Fiend gimmick. The reason why I wasn't a fan of it is because, like, he's a monster. And there's not much... You can't really be flexible with it. You know, like, he's going to destroy people and then ultimately someone's going to kill him or kill him off. But he's going to come back again, just like Freddy Krueger did, just like Jason did, just like It the Clown does. And I get that's kind of like wrestling in a sense that, like, yeah, people are going to be on top and then eventually they're going to get beat and they'll be got whatever, right? But his character itself doesn't lend it to be other than I kill you or I'm killed. Like, I've not enjoyed the really stuff with Randy. The stuff with Braun was just, in my opinion, terrible. The only good thing about the Braun program, and you know what I'm going to say, was the fact that we got cult leader Bray Wyatt. If we had cult leader Bray Wyatt back, I would be over the moon. Like, I know people can say what you want about Bray Wyatt, but if you want to say he's a guilty pleasure or whatever, then he's definitely mine.
Yeah.
Like, I still watch, like, even over like 7 months past it, I still watch that promo he cut the first time he came back as cult leader Bray Wyatt confronting Braun. Like, I couldn't believe it. But for me, they done it the wrong way around.
Yep.
Like, just and this is where my bias comes in. Like, it should never have been Fiend and Braun. Like, they tried to do it like, right, fine, you beat Bray Wyatt and his cardigan, and then you beat Bray Wyatt, cult leader, and then the big boss is a Fiend. Well, no, it should have been the other way around. The big boss should have been bringing cult leader Bray Wyatt back. The Fiend was, when it first debuted, you were like, I'm going to give it a chance. Entrance is awesome. Like, you look creepy. Like, but the moment he like tried to, he quote unquote broke Finn Balor's neck, and I was like, okay. But like I say, it's not been a great year, and it's nothing to do with him. I just feel like the character itself doesn't lend it to do much with it. Like I say, other than either dominate and then be killed to then just come back. Because even though he's getting burned alive, well, he's coming back just like every other like movie villain or movie like Monster did. So like I say, is you almost forget that he also held the title. Remember, he had like that awfulness with Goldberg earlier on in the year as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sad that I need to do it, but not been a good year for Bray. Even though he's been featured in like some high-profile feuds, but I just go back to it. And I just think it's a character more than anything that I'm not a fan of.
I'm a big
Even though my two boys are obsessed with the Fiend.
well, that's the thing. It's the marketing and all that stuff.
No, that's it.
I mean, I'm a big fan of storytelling wrestlers. I think Seth does it very well. Ciampa, like over the course of like many months, they're telling you a story, and Bray Wyatt is probably the most skilled at that. I just don't like that story. It's too fucked up.
The Fiend stories are too repetitive. It's just what I say. It's like, I'm going to kill you, but then eventually he's going to get killed, but then he's going to come back, start doing it again, and he's going to get killed off again. Like, it's too much of the same thing, in my opinion.
The two biggest highlights of Bray Wyatt's year has been his tornado DDT while wearing clothes in a Gap clothes advert. And Alexa Bliss delivering the best Abigail's kiss I've ever seen to Nikki Cross. That wasn't even him.
But then they do that ridiculousness on Monday.
Aye. See, it's just I don't mind stuff like that. I watch horrors, I watch mental fucking sci-fi and fantasy stuff on the telly and read the books. But I don't personally. I've just not got time for it.
It's sad I had to do it, but it had to be done.
Well, my next one, it's a bit random, right? And it's not that this is my top 3 misses, it's just one that really pissed me off and it was quite recent. Lana Rusev. The tables did not bother me. The table shots every week did not bother me at all. The winning the Survivor Series match for Raw Women while doing absolutely nothing did not bother me one slight bit. What bothered me was her TV win over Nia Jax, only to be immediately injured. Kayfabe, well, if it's real, fair enough. But kayfabe injured, only to be replaced by Charlotte Flair to become tag team champion. What was that? Who was the benefit in all that?
Charlotte
Flair.
So I don't know if it's a real injury or not. I'm going to say it is a real injury, right? But and I love Charlotte. See the problem with Charlotte coming back, and I know people are going to be like, "Well, Asuka's been featured to help a lot." Asuka's an afterthought now. Seems like in that tag team now, all of a sudden we're now going back to Charlotte and her daddy issues.
Well,
bro, you're 70 years old. No one wants to see you wrinkly balls. Like, get the fuck off the screen.
Well,
and now all of a sudden we're now caught up in this Lana, Ric Flair, Charlotte, and oh my god, what's her name? Why is her name escaping me now?
Lacey Evans.
Yes, and Lana seems to be an afterthought in this tag team. They're tag team champions. Lana held like the women's title for so long as well, and it's like that's what's frustrating about this right now. And it's like you don't need to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm of a firm belief that Asuka should be the 5th horsewoman. I know that goes against the Bible and all sorts, right? But like, okay, you've got your 4th horsewoman. They've all had excellent feuds with each other. They've all teamed together in some form or fashion. They've all got a storied history together. But Asuka has that with all of them as well. And I think once we look back in about 5-6 years, Charlotte and Asuka have had a fucking excellent story, rivalry. They fought against each other at Mania. Asuka kept beating them at TLC. They're tag champs. There's mild animosity brewing in the ranks just in time for Rumble and Mania coming. Could be Charlotte Asuka at Mania. I'd be all for that. So I've not got a problem with that. It's just the story that WWE were telling was that Lana's going through all these tables. You've got a TLC pay-per-view, and she keeps feuding with one of the tag team champions, and then her payoff is a win on Raw, just a win on Raw, and then she gets fucked off and replaced. That's not a payoff. Again, if she's legitimately injured, fair enough, but it's just a bit fucking... Like, that's people getting booked poorly, people not being on TV, a mild gripe, but my issue is when I personally feel stories aren't told the right way. For instance, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 34. Thought that was a terrible ending to that many-month story.
Everyone did.
So, it's just... It's a weird thing to piss me off, but it's just...
You know what's just mind-boggling? And people can be like, oh, stop it. What's mind-boggling about the Nia Jackson-Lana stuff was, right? Like, they could literally run, like, an anti-bullying, like, advert. And then literally what we saw was a woman being bullied for, like, 10 straight weeks. Like, read the room sometimes.
I really don't think wrestling should be involved in anti-bullying campaigns because it's a bit redundant concerning the fact that about 90% of the rivalries are when the heels are arseholes to the faces.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but I'm just mean like, but read the fucking room. Yep. Like, read the damn room. Right, so my last one, I've actually wanted to say, I was going to say the fans, but I'm going to keep that for AEW because I can tie AEW and WWE into it. I'll just give my one away. Right, my final one here. And look, speaking out would be there, but we say beforehand we wouldn't do it, we wouldn't talk about speaking out because we done a whole podcast on that. And speaking out is at the very, very top of the list, and it will be. You know, so we've addressed that in the past, and that's number one on our list of negatives or misses or cons or whatever. Especially the handling of it. The handling was atrocious. It's like guys didn't even get like a slap in the wrist. The hand, it doesn't even seem like it. Like, oh, guy just come back, it's kind of blown away, it's died down a little bit. Come on back. People forget all about it. So that would be number one on our list, right? So I'm going with, and I literally wrote here, old fucks. Get Goldberg off my screen. Get Ric Flair off my screen. And I could simply change the channel. I get it. But I love watching Drew. I love watching Asuka and Charlotte. I don't need Ric Flair to be front and centre in that feud with someone like Asuka taking a back seat. I don't need Goldberg coming in for his 2 match year, and somehow the first match seems to be the last 2 years. It's in now for the third year straight year. It's a bloody world title match. Like, what did you do to deserve that? Absolutely nothing. You have done the same amount as me, just so you know, Goldberg, in the last 9 months when it comes to wrestling. So I hate that. I just can't bother watching these old guys. The Taker and AJ match I loved, didn't have an issue with it, and this is where I guess people are going to be like, well, be consistent. It's because I love Taker, but that was a good match, and yes, heavy-leaded, blah, 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 but we never saw Taker again after that. Came back and done his thing at Survivor Series, which itself was so long and unnecessary, but I don't need to see all these old guys coming back and being involved in these feuds. And I know Rance was talking about last week because obviously beating Goldberg and it's a marquee name, etc. Right, fine. I don't have an argument with that. I have an argument with him being there in the first place because he's not a good wrestler. He's old, never was, doesn't deserve it. I just don't need to always have these, let's pull the legends back in. We'll have a Legends night on Raw, and then you roll out the likes of Sergeant Slaughter and fucking Jeff Jarrett and try to pass them off as legends. Like, nah. So, yeah, I'm so done with having all these older folk on the bloody, not even every week, but at certain parts of the year. And I've come and grown accustomed to the fact that we're going to have one part-time or a celebrity match at WrestleMania. That doesn't need to be for the bloody world title. If you take that world title off Drew, I'm sorry, this 2020 was just pointless then for Drew. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, he's got 2 title reigns and he's done this and that. That's all good. But he was just beaten by a guy in his 50s. When guys like in their prime, like guys like Randy Orton, guys like AJ, guys like Seth, guys like Dolph, hell, even Brock Lesnar couldn't beat him. And this is where someone's going to come around and be like, well, sometimes you just have that one person that's got your number. But that doesn't need to be fucking Goldberg.
Nope.
Please don't take the title off Drew.
Oh my God, you sound desperate.
I am. I can't be bothered with it. Like, it's just, you can't build up someone like this so much and just have someone like Goldberg come in and take that moment, because then it's not a moment anymore.
I know.
Just like when Roman eventually is going to lose the title, it has to be a huge moment. It has to make someone.
I know. You want to hear my last one?
Go on.
It's another random one, but I remember being pissed off with it at the time. And it was Shayna Baszler losing to Becky at WrestleMania. Now, okay, Becky went on to win. Becky gave us a beautiful moment with Asuka winning the title in the briefcase. I just think that story was told incorrectly, because Shayna Baszler was on a tear. She was very unlucky at the Rumble. She was devastated in the chamber. She was literally ripping chunks out of Becky's neck with her teeth. I just think it was a time for a shift. That would have been a year that Becky had been the champ. Perfect time to move on, make Shayna a star. And okay, she's kind of in a fun thing with the tag champs just now, but it didn't end up being a good 2020 for Shayna Baszler when it could have been a shit hot 2020 for Shayna Baszler.
So it started off shit because she should have won the Rumble.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Right? And in fairness to Becky, I think, did she come out herself and say, like, she pitched for Shayna to win it, so that should have happened. But, you know, that's not, right, fine. Charlotte beat you and Becky Lynch beat you, right, fine. Two of the most recognisable women wrestlers of all time, and one half of the Horsewomen, right, fine, okay, I can maybe get past that, even though I can't. But then, what the issue was, for a period, for quite several weeks, she was the one that was eating the pinfalls in her tag matches with Nia Jax. And I'm like, that's Nia Jax. Nia Jax is fucking hopeless. Why are you protecting her? And Shayna, who's a legit badass, is the one that's taking the pins. Why would you do that? Like, fucking Nia Jax has proven nothing else than being a liability in the ring. Like, and somehow you're protecting her, and Shayna will start eating the pins.
It sounds like it bothers you more than it bothers me.
Well, because Shayna's awesome. Like, Shayna's legit awesome. Like, I remember watching a video of her in the performance center. She comes in and she starts like hitting people and choking people out and all that. And I legit finished watching that, and they were like, Shayna, what are you doing? Leave him watch. I remember finished watching. I'm like, you're a total bitch. like I bought in kayfabe wise. I was like, you're a total bitch. Why are you doing stuff like that? And then you're like, calm down, you know, Ricky, calm down. It's kayfabe.
Put the dick away. Put the dick away.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous. Oh, some of the stuff they do is just, it confuses me. But at the same time, they've done great stuff as well.
Aye. Listen, I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're nearly at an hour. Do you want to do AEW's hits and misses next week, or just plough through it and give the listeners a bumper episode? I'm happy to do that.
No, we could do the AEW one next week.
Right, okay.
We could do that one next week, because then it gives us extra content for next week, and And then a week after that, we've got the Rumble preview.
We're lazy bastards as well.
Not even that. Like I want to give AEW the time. I don't want to feel like I'm trying to hurry up and get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I've got mine here. But no, let's wait a week because like I says, we gave this segment for WWE a good 45 minutes. I think we need to give AEW the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, folks. We're going to do the AEW one next week, and that'll be good because I was swiveling on my third pro or hit, and it'll give me a little bit extra time just to kind of think about it a bit more.
Uh-huh.
No, that's good. That's actually I like that actually.
Good. So we're treating the fans, the listeners, but we grew up watching WWE, so they know how.
Although I will say that I said it last week. Omega and Phoenix was awesome.
Okay.
Really, really enjoyed that match last week actually. Ending, I'm not sure how I feel about the ending of it, like the stuff that happened after the match, but the match itself, I thought it was excellent.
Uh-huh.
There was a moment in that match where Phoenix was in the top rope and done like a moonsault kind of thing over Omega and turns it into like a German. It was absolutely beautiful. No, that was a really good match. I'm got like, if no one's watched it as yet,
mm-hmm.
I know we're kind of a week past Dynamite, but it was a really, really good match actually.
Can I just say I was a bit disappointed with New Year's Evil.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, we can talk 5-10 minutes about that if you want.
So what we'll do is next week we'll do the AEW hits and misses, and we'll do the fantasy pay-per-views as well next week.
That's fine.
Or do you want to do
completely?
Or do you
completely? Say that again.
Do you want to do your pay-per-view and I'll do mine next week, or vice versa?
Oh, that's fine. I can do mine right now.
Right.
Then we can do yours.
Before that, I just want to say, I don't know if it was political stuff going on last week, but New Year's Evil felt flat to me. Like there was not much atmosphere going on. So I was just a bit sort of looking forward to it for so many weeks and thought, okay then. Anyway.
What about it did you not like?
Just
like, what about the matches itself?
I just felt as if there wasn't much of an atmosphere. I think the hottest the crowd were was when Gargano was wrestling in his jeans. Just bizarre.
I enjoyed the main event, no.
Yep, they are good wrestlers. And like nothing happened for that as well. There was no title change, no screw job. It was just a win.
Just yep. Maybe we were just overthinking it.
That's regularly the case. Right, what's your pay-per-view then? WWE versus AEW.
Right, so I will run it. What order do I want to do it in? Either written it or... Right, okay. So I've gone kind of like, I've got like a quote-unquote a world title match, I've got like a tag title match, and I've got the women's title match. That wasn't how I was planning to do it, certainly not when it came to some of them, but it turned out I'm just going to do it like that. So I'm going to open the pay-per-view up with the Young Bucks taking on the Usos.
Okay.
Now that is a super kick party in the making.
Well, if you're playing a drinking game for that one and you have to take a drink every time someone does a super kink.
Super kinky party. Did you hear Shah Samuels is NXT UK bound?
Good for him. Good for him. He deserves it.
I like him.
A thoroughly enjoyable chap.
I say that is because I think they applied to trademark that name, so, put two and together, he has to be surely, because he's had tryouts there before.
He has, and dark matches as well.
Yep.
No, I'm happy about that because I think he deserves it. He puts in a lot of work.
Yep. So yeah, that's my opening match to the pay-per-view. Do you know what I'll do? I'll lay out the pay-per-view and then we can just discuss it if you want.
Okay.
To follow that match, I'm going to have... This one might seem odd to people, but I don't know. I just have like a lot of people, I'm a real soft spot for Hangman.
You're not the only one, Ricky.
Hangman taking on Daniel Bryan. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm not even sure if it's going to be a good match. Hangman had to be on it and I had to get Daniel Bryan on it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put you two together. So next on the card, I have the women's match, and it is champ versus champ. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think you're going to either do Io or Asuka versus is it Hikaru Shida?
It's funny. I actually didn't consider any NXT wrestlers. It was only when you mentioned it I was like, I could have went Io, but I didn't. I'm going Sasha. How can I leave off the best female wrestler of 2020? Well, when it comes North American female wrestler. I'm going champ versus champ there. And remember when we made up our other pay-per-views of like old title matches and stuff like that? And
yes.
My philosophy was there is no mini break before the main event. I finish up with banger after banger. So I put my best matches on last. I'm going Seth Rollins, and we've seen this match before, John Moxley. We've seen it before, maybe not in this dynamic, well, it kind of is actually, because Moxley himself is like unhinged, if you want to say. He's just, he's going back to his roots or whatever, but the dynamics will kind of still be the same in the sense that like Mox is still going to be there's a scrapper, Seth can be the heel, whatever. I know Sam will enjoy this match, so I don't care if it's taking place. Those guys had ridiculously crazy chemistry, and that was making it on no matter what. I think my main event is going to be pretty obvious, but this is a match I've decided to sneak in there. And this, no fucking way is this going to be like a toilet break match. We have Phoenix taking on, do you want to take a guess? Hell, this guy might not even be in WWE anymore. I think he is. Rey Mysterio.
Not Dominic?
Not Dominic, no, his father. That match would be phenomenal. Would be out of this world, I think.
They've probably wrestled before.
They have, but I think they probably have, but like I said, I don't really give a shit. And my main event, I think, is pretty obvious.
Triple H and Cody.
That's it.
Is it?
No. Triple H and Stephanie versus Cody. No, it's a fuck.
In a throne match?
That's in a throne match. No, it's a fuck. Cody was not making it onto this fucking pay-per-view. Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns.
Yes.
The biggest match you can make, I think, between both companies. And probably the match I would really want to see out with Roman versus Okada between WWE and any other company. I would love to see Roman and Okada. In fact, there's so many other matches I'd love to see. But yeah, that's up there. But Roman versus Kenny. I don't think that match would disappoint. I think that would be out of this world, that match. You don't like it?
I don't know.
It's because you don't like Kenny Omega.
No, I don't mind Kenny Omega. I don't worship him.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Others do. I think he's the only one that's close to Roman's level.
On AEW?
Uh-huh.
Mox.
No, you have to do Seth Rollins and Moxley because that writes itself.
Oh, right, sorry. Oh, no, I thought you meant just in general on AEW.
Just for your pay-per-view. Moxley's a debate for another time, I think.
Certainly, I think who you like. I see where you're coming from. Like, because Mox has already taken off it, like you want someone like a bona fide star across from him, a legit threat. Like Cody would obviously fall into that just for who he is, and he's had some good matches as well. But he's not anywhere near Kenny's level. And I don't think there obviously is anyone else in that company is anywhere near Omega, purely because of how big a star Omega is. A lot of people have got the potential, but I didn't want to put MJF or someone like that in there, someone young and whatnot, or Orange Cassidy or anyone like that. I needed this pay-per-view main event had to be box office, and it doesn't get much bigger than those two.
I agree with the star power thing. I'm just not sure if the styles will mesh. I think that's my issue with that match.
I think it would, because I think it would. When you look at AJ and Roman and how well they meshed, I just feel like Kenny being similar size and stature and stuff and can do a lot of this great things as well. I think they would blend together very well. There was one or two other matches that I was thinking of, but I just couldn't think who I should be taking off the card.
Right. That's fine. No, that's good. I think my favourite out of that is Seth Rollins and John Moxley. Like, that would be so good. They had so many amazing matches in WWE. They have made some pot shots over the fence in the last couple of years. I can imagine there's a wee bit of animosity between them in real life, perhaps. So I'd be all down for that. I thoroughly enjoy that one.
I think my favourites is either the Omega and Roman match or the Phoenix and Rey match. I think that would be awesome. I'm going to have to... like I said, so I never really gave much thought to NXT.
Shame on you.
I know. I'm trying to see. Let me see. Here we go. Nope. So I'm sure that there will be somewhere they've probably wrestled in Mexico. But I'm all for that match.
They'll definitely wrestled on Lucha Underground, definitely, and probably in AAA. I'm pretty sure Lucha Underground's partnership with AAA. I make me ignorant in saying that, but I'm sure Lucha Underground, the concept was introduced at Triple Mania, so probably that. A good pay-per-view though. I'm surprised that the women's won.
Oh really? Were you not because it was Sasha and not?
No, like I might get some heat for this, but I genuinely don't see any. Like, I don't think AEW's women can lace up WWE's women. Now that might be a presentation issue because I've not seen enough of them. I think the best woman I've seen so far in AEW is Penelope Ford.
No, I like Nyla Rose as well.
Nyla Rose is not bad, but
I think Rio's pretty good as well.
Nyla Rose, she seems a bit dangerous.
I should have gone with Triple H and should have gone with Triple H and Stephanie versus Brandy Rhodes and Cody. That would have been hilarious.
I know. And the most overbooked, over-entranced match, like that takes up 2 hours of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. I like Big Swole as well, though.
Big Swole.
There's a couple of people on that.
Big Swole likes a nice botch now and again.
I don't think I've left anyone off that really. Maybe Pac, but I just have to get Hangman on it.
Of course you did. Like, there's no shame in that at all.
Nah, I'm quite happy with that. My other match, to be honest, that I was considering was Marco Stunt versus Hornswoggle. No, that's my AEW versus WWE pay-per-view.
Okay, that's good. I like it. I'll give you mine next week then. Right, so now if you want this whole quiz, you can, since we're making this into a 2-parter. But I have got a quiz that is a question from each month of 2020. Do you want January to June just now and July to December next week, or do you just want the whole shebang this week?
How many questions is it?
12.
I'll just go for it.
Go for it. Right. So January. Who was the second entrant in the 2020 Royal Rumble?
Watch one.
Men's.
Christ, I don't even know who the number 1 entrance was. It was Brock, actually. Who started off with Brock? Who started off with Brock?
Well, that's the question.
That's what I'm saying. I can't remember who it was. I'm sure it was somebody that got tossed out like within 5 seconds.
Will I give you a clue?
Yep.
Brock Lesnar was raging with this person and literally chased them down.
I can't see it. I can't picture this person. That's alright, no clues, because then it makes a mockery of the quiz. Who is it?
Elias.
So it was.
Never mind the Claymore to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar running for Elias, grabbing the guitar and smashing his body apart with it. That was the best moment in that Rumble.
Fucking Elias. Him and that MAGA group he's got going on with that, whatever his face is again.
Fucking hell, man. I wonder if Triple H's Capitol Wrestling Centre is actually just a nod to... That was like an Illuminati nod to the Capitol invasion last week.
Jesus.
In February, what was the women's title match at AEW Revolution?
I'm going to go 0 for 12 here.
No. There's 1 or 2 easy ones. Out of 12. And one of them's worth 5 points. A Ricky special.
Yes. I can't even fucking remember.
Do you want some clues?
I'm not a fan of clues. Purely because, it's like, you're only good enough to get the fucking answer, so I'll help you out, you dick. You can give me a clue, but...
One of them is out injured currently.
Oh. Statlander.
Versus?
Oh my god, I just said your name a minute ago and I said I liked you. Wasn't it Swole? Nyla Rose.
Correct, 1 point so far. March. Which WWE legend appeared on Monday Night Raw on March the 16th?
Could have been anyone. WrestleMania season.
Yep. What's the date?
March 16. Austin.
2 points. April, including the dark matches, which WrestleMania night had the most matches? And I'm including the cinematic stuff.
You mean the pre-show matches?
Yeah, pre-show, including them, which had more matches. Night 1, the Saturday, or night 2, the Sunday?
I'm just going to take a guess and say night 1.
Night 1 had 9 matches and night 2 had 10.
Fuck's sake.
May, what move did one of the Young Bucks, don't ask me which one, do all the way along a football field at Double or Nothing? So from one end of the touchdown line to the other, one of the...
I've got it. I can see it. He done it.
Uh-huh. Like, well, you were led to believe he did it. I don't imagine that off camera he continued to do this.
I can see him. I remember he's awful. You're going to have to give me a clue.
It has a name that is similar. That is a natural phenomenon in the northern hemisphere of the world. I know it's not me.
No, I can't even think.
Northern Light Suplex.
Fuck's sake.
June?
Of course it was.
Of course it was. In June, which one?
It's the bit I remember is Hangman coming from one end of the field to the other. Remember, like you see him in the background?
Aye, on the horse. Oh, no, not the horse. Number June.
Number June.
Which wanker was the first, and I use this term very loosely, victim of the speaking out movement? Who started it? So who was the first wrestler implicated?
I take it Dream's not a part of that?
No. This was that weekend. That weekend from hell.
Who was the first one?
I thought you would have got that.
I know, but there's just so many happened. Like,
There was one that was separate from the others by a good 12 hours or so at the start.
NXT UK or
No WWE at all.
not wasn't Jimmy Havoc, was it?
For some reason I thought you were going to say Jimmy Savile there. No.
Oh, aye.
One more clue. Over the top.
Over the top. That's my clue.
Yep.
No, I can't. I can't even picture who it is.
Okay, the answer is David Starr.
Oh, so it was.
July.
Prick.
What was the name of New Japan's first major event back after lockdown?
Right, I need to go through them back the way now. Because my memory is shocking.
I've gathered that tonight.
So it wasn't the G1. It wasn't Power Struggle because that was just recent. That was after G1. It wasn't Dominion. And the only reason I know it, because I liked it from keeping it strong style earlier on in New Japan Cup. That's it.
No.
I think.
Keeping it strong style have officially disowned you.
Our memory's fucking awful though. July?
Yes.
Nah, you have to give me a clue.
Kind of sounds like a current second generation. Well, it might not. It sounds like a certain wrestler's son's name who is on SmackDown right now. Or not SmackDown, just I can't remember which one.
In July?
This wrestler's first name, relatively new to the business. His name is similar to the event that New Japan had in July. Fucking hell. Brutal.
My memory's shot to pieces tonight.
Okay, well, I'll tell you the answer.
I really need to get it myself somehow.
Well, Google it then.
No, tell me the answer.
Dominion.
I fucking mouthed that, and I just says it wasn't Dominion. Crying out loud.
August.
But see, if you go back and listen, you'll hear me saying Power Struggle and then says it wasn't Dominion.
I didn't hear that, to be honest with you.
Crying out loud.
August.
I thought that was after the New Japan Cup. Anyway, sorry.
What was different about SummerSlam 2020 from an aesthetics point of view?
What?
What was different about...
Was that when they had the fans like viewing interactively? No.
Well, I'll give you the point, but do you not remember the official name for the fucking thing?
No.
It was the first pay-per-view inside the Thunderdome.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, fuck.
I'll give you the point, though.
Well, actually, because they just done the Thunderdome, didn't they? Like, on the SmackDown or whatever before it.
1 or 2 weeks before it. September. Who did Asuka defend her Raw title against at Clash of Champions?
This is abysmal.
This might be the worst you've ever done. Worse than that time Caleb annihilated you.
I know, because at least I was up against someone.
And I think Rance annihilated either me or you a couple of times.
Clash of Champions, September. So it wasn't Sasha. Anyone who was on Raw at the time couldn't have been Shayna Baszler. Wasn't Nia Jax. Lana never had it. I'm literally just going to run through the roster.
With your Nintendo Switches for their husbands?
Zelina Vega.
Yes. Aye, Alistair Black's sitting with his Nintendo Switch and catering right now. After Roman Reigns. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about now. October. Who did Io Shirai defend the NXT Women's title against at TakeOver 31?
What month was this again? Sorry, October?
October.
Oh, I don't think it was. Was that her?
Maybe.
Was it Candice?
It was.
Thank God.
You've got 5 points out of 12.
I have no idea how I've got 5. I'm sorry, Jeremy and Josh. I genuinely thought the New Japan Cup was the first show back, and I muttered it wasn't Dominion.
Now, this is for 5 points.
What month are we in?
November. Name Team SmackDown in the Survivor Series women's match.
Bailey.
1.
Who the hell is on SmackDown? Oh, here we go. Right, I'm going to name the Raw one in my head. Shane. No. Bianca Belair and
2. That's 2 you've got.
I want to say it was someone like, I don't know if Ruby Riott was
3.
Sonya wasn't there at that point.
You've got 3 so far.
Where was Natalia?
4.
Sure. And I'm just trying to think who the last. Oh, it was Bianca was the last one that counted out. I feel like someone. It was either Mandy Rose or Ruby Riott. Surely.
You've said Ruby Riott,
Oh, did I? Sorry.
and she was in it.
No, is she on Raw? No, Naomi's on Raw, isn't she? Screw it, Mandy Rose.
Incorrect. I'll give you one more clue. Wrong blonde.
Liv Morgan.
Correct. 5 points. So you're on 10 points out of a possible 16 now. Now that's impressive.
It's not. It's been a terrible showing.
It has. Now this is from the greatest ever episode of Dynamite that has ever happened. This is from Winter is Coming. So I expect this to be ingrained in your memory. Who did Britt Baker beat in her match at AEW Winter is Coming?
I wouldn't know because I just pick and choose shows that I like and pick and choose what I like in those shows and watch it. I don't watch other guff that I don't like.
So Britt Baker made a heartfelt plea saying we're not getting airtime because people aren't watching because of the demographics. So you are not watching the women's matches. So it's your fault that the women are not on Dynamite more often, Ricky.
No, you're going to have to give a clue. I genuinely didn't watch that match.
I've never heard of this woman in my life. I don't know what clue I can give you apart from like initials.
Give me an initial then.
LH.
LH.
Lita Hardy. What could have been?
It's something Hurts, how you say it, H-I
Yes.
R-S-H, I can't remember how you pronounce her name. Layla, first name is anyway.
Yes, well done. You got
Layla
the point.
Hirsch.
Layla Hirsch. So you got 12 out of 16 points.
Nah, that New Japan question.
You don't accept that, do you?
No, I don't accept that. I actually muttered it wasn't Dominion, and then I was so confident it was New Japan because I thought it was the other way around.
Do you know what's possible? That I've got it wrong and I'll be the baddie.
I'll Google it right now.
4 words. Now that quiz is done, thank fuck that's over.
It's a Dominion.
While Ricky either corrects me or himself, this has been the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, where you can find other shows such as One Nation Radio. By the way, Rich Latta, shout out to Rich Latta, getting some screen time for Swerve's podcast. What's it called again? Isaiah Scott's podcast, can you remember?
Oh, yeah.
He was on that with Angela Dawkins and Isaiah Scott. Good shout out there. Keeping It Strong Style, who have now fallen out with either me or Ricky. Grown Men Watch This Shit. Great Match Generator. Grave Consequences. 8-Bit Suplex Wrestling Podcast and All Things Elite. I feel as if I've missed someone this week. Give us a 5-star review on the podcast app of your choice, preferably Apple Podcasts. You can find these podcasts and any columns that we do over at socialsuplex.com, where if you press the subscribe button, they will be sent directly to your email inbox. ProWrestlingTees.net, head over there, type in Social Suplex, and you'll get to the page where you'll see t-shirts of our logos. Go to the show notes on your app and press the link for donating to us to give us some nice toys to play with. Or just remember the offers out there for stand-up comic episodes, just me telling wrestling jokes, £20, that's all I'm asking.
It was Dominion.
It was. I know it was.
The New Japan Cup took place in June, but Dominion was supposed to be before it, but they rescheduled it.
Right.
Sorry to cut you off.
That's all right.
Sorry, Jeremy. Sorry, Josh.
He's actually asleep. He's so distraught, he's so embarrassed, he just fell asleep there. Wrestling Squared Circle is a Facebook group where you can find us, and we are at Ricky and Clive on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I quite enjoyed this week. It was going to be the whole shebang, but this gives us some nice content for next week. Hope you tune in to hear us praise and criticise AEW in equal measure, I promise. And Ricky, thank you for joining me tonight. I know you started the show hosting it, but I've taken over. I'm sorry.
That's alright, you're good at the plugs.
No, I'm
You
not.
always do a flawless job.
That's not true.
That's not true at all.
Do you have anything you want to say?
No, just sorry that I got the New Japan question wrong.
There's a sleepless night ahead for you, pal.
One or two that I was never going to get.
Yeah.
But that was a poor effort in the quiz by me.
You should have got the Northern Light Suplex one as well.
I know, but I wasn't enamoured with that match as much as you were.
Oh, I thought it was great fun.
See, I can't be bothered with the fucking cinematic matches.
That wasn't exactly a cinematic match, though.
Mm.
But we can discuss it next week because it might be on somebody's list. So, till then, speak to you then. Till then, speak to you then.
Take care, folks. Try not to attempt any takeovers of, Parliament or countries and wear a mask and stuff,
Oh, wear a mask, for God's sake, honestly. Embarrassing.
Even in your own homes.
Even in bed, wear a mask. What are you pointing at me for? You're not wearing a
I'm
mask.
not. I'm telling you to turn around.
Hello.
That's what I was saying.
That's a cameo from the wife there. Who's not on cameo, by the way, just in case you're wondering.
No, right, well, folks, we'll talk next week where it will be the third last episode of the Ricky and Clive show. Don't do it, Vince. Please don't do it.
You can fund terrorism in Saudi Arabia. You can hire paedophiles, but do not let Goldberg beat Drew McIntyre. Good night.
Yeah, don't do it. Take care, folks.
Don't fire paedophiles, though. Like, fire them and do a citizen's arrest as well. Right.
Which means you'll be firing like 99% of your roster, but it's fine, Vince.
And
just do it.
And probably your daughter.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.